Okay, hi and welcome back. We open the architecture diagram. Okay, so in the previous session, we have seen like how we can install the this one. How we can install the ComServe packages and media agent packages. And in today's session, we'll see how we can. So after installing the media agent package, so there are certain steps we have to do. Like we have to configure the disk library and also we have to configure the storage policy. So we'll see that part now, and after that we'll see how we can install the client packages. Like we have that, we'll select the two clients. One is a Windows machine, and will also see for Linux machine how we can install the file system package. One for Windows machine, how we can install the file system package, and another for Linux machine. So let's see that. Hey, hi. Me good so that I can explain here. Okay. So here we're going to see how we can create a disk library. So okay, before we even start the configuration of disk library, so you should know what actually the disk library means. In general, what is the meaning of library? Library is nothing but it is a place where you'll be finding a number of books there, right? So that is the meaning of the library. But here we're calling it as a disk library. So when you say a disk library, so it is something like uh, you know like the location where you will be having a number of disk attached to that, right? So we call that as a disk library. So now, so why we need a disk library? So we need a disk library to place all our backup data, right? For example, if you are taking the some file system data backup, for example, if you are picking the backup of an Oracle database, or you are taking the backup of an SQL server, so where you are going to place that, you need some location, right? So you need to have some location where you can write all these backup data. So that location we are calling it as the library. So here we are speaking in general about the disk library. So when I say the disk library, so it is the location, it is the disk location where we are going to, where the backup product is going to, backup tool is going to write the backup data, right? So let's see how we can create that. So after deploying the media agent, so the task is that we have to create a disk library. Okay, so we have a different option operations we'll be doing, like adding the mount path. So these are things we are going to see here, like so creating a disk library and then adding the mount path. I'll let you know what actually mount path means, and then we're going to see the mount path validation and all that stuff. So now I am on the console machine. So I will open the. I'll go to the start, Commvault, console. Yeah, now the console is open. Yeah, you have to go to that the media agent section, and I have to select that 10005 server, right, which is acting as a media agent. Right, from the console browser, go to the storage resources, and then navigate to the library section. So currently there are no libraries, right? So right click add, so you can see the disk library. So give the name of the disk library. So you need to give some user friendly name, disk lib one, and yeah. So media agent name, we have to select the drop down, the media agent server, and local path, right? I'm adding some path. So the disk path. So I have two disks here on the media agent C and D drive. D drive is temporary because it is the Azure VM. We cannot keep the data on the D drive. It is temporary, right? The data will get erased once you reboot. So I'm selecting the mount path in the C drive only. So let me show you that. Yeah, if I go on that server, see that D drive is temporary. You have to select the C drive location only. So any other virtual machine, so Azure will give you the D drive for temporary storage. So that means temporary means after reboot, whatever the data you keep, it will be not be there. Right? So in the C drive, we'll create one folder with the name bound path 1. Say OK. I will click on that. Again say OK. So now you can see that I have given one folder location in the C drive. So we call that folder location or the path as a mount path. Right? So in the disk we have created one folder and then we have defined the mount path. So the location where we can write the data, it is called as the mount path. So you can see that so the disk library, disk lib 1, we have created one mount path. So it should show you in the ready state, right? If it is not showing you ready state, we have to troubleshoot them. Now add another mount path, right click, add mount path. Now again go to the C drive and I will add another folder here within the C drive. So if you have some number of disks like E drive, F drive, so it is advised to add a new drive, right? Instead of keeping everything on the same drive, so it is recommended to place this in the new drive. You create the folder in the new drive. But because it is lab environment, I have only one drive, so I am creating the mount path on the same C drive only. Okay, now you can see that I have within the same disk library, you have two mount paths, right? So like this, I can create any number of mount paths. So you can have as many as mount paths as possible, right? Okay, you want to validate it, right? Validate mount path. What actually it does? It is for checking whether it is ready for writing or not. Whether it is ready to write the data or not. So we can do the check status, or you can also do the check throughput. You know, so when you do the check status, it will see whether it is online or not. So I did the check status. So it might take some time to refresh. So why we are doing this check status is that to verify whether it is ready or not. Anyhow, it is ready, so it's not showing any status. So again, validate mount path and then check throughput. So you can find out the throughput. You can give the file size. What actually it does is that it's going to run some test. Like 1 GB file and one file. You see that the job has started. The job controller. So job. So now you need to wait for some time to see the success status. What actually it is doing? It is trying to write some random data. Okay, now you see that successfully validated the mount point. So we are validating it whether that storage device is ready to accept the data or not. Yeah, it will give the write throughput and read throughput. So throughput is nothing but with how much speed it can write the data on that device. 130 MB per second. So it is very good speed. So anything more than 100 MB per second is very good speed. Okay, so we've seen how to create a disk library. Next, we'll see how to create a storage policy. So before seeing the storage policy, let me show you something here. Let me make little bit quick. Okay. Now, okay. Till now, what we have seen? We have seen how to create a disk library. Now, let's see what is a storage policy, right? What actually a storage policy defines? It defines, okay, what subclient content and where the data need to be written and how long. So, just to give you some overview, you can see that this is the storage policy. So, forgot about this subclient. So, we'll discuss about this later. So, for now, just remember that this is nothing but the client data. So, client data, whatever the data that is, available on the client machine. So, client machine means, as I said, it can be like Oracle DB or it can be file system data or anything. So, that is going to first hit the storage policy. So, on the storage policy, what you will define? You will define some, okay, there will be some rules, right? So, what actually the rules means? So, it has the rules like the first copy will go to the, so where exactly the first copy is going to write? It's going to write onto the disk library, right? So, your client data is going to write onto the disk library. So, and then we also define how many days that particular, how long, right? How long that backup job need to be retained. What actually retention means? So retention means, for example, if you are running one backup job today, right? So that backup job has the assume that like for example, I'll show you a simple example. Like, okay, I have these particular documents. So that backup job, whenever I run a backup job, I'm taking backup of these two files. So on the storage, now we have maintaining a backup of these two files. So now I can define some rule like for 30 days I want to keep everything in the backup server. 30 days. After 30 days, what I don't want these files backup. I want to clean up. So if I say that 30 days here retention, that means whatever the data you backup, it will remain on the storage on the disk library for 30 days only. After 30 days, that backup job will be cleaned from the storage. Storage in the sense backup device. It will not be there. That means, so within 30 days, if I say retention as 1 month, so within 1 month, so the customer can restore that data back onto the client machine, right? So backup and restore. As I said, backup is nothing but something you take a copy of it. So we take a copy on the disk library, and how many days you are going to keep, how long you are going to keep for 1 month. And you can define another retention also. But as an example, we are saying 1 month. It depends on, this retention is defined by the customer, or your customer or your application owner will tell how many days I want to keep that backup data. So basing on that, you will configure. So let's suppose assume that for 1 month. So for 1 month, the data will lie here. After 1 month, what will happen? That backup data will be removed from storage, right? So within 1 month, so the customer can request restore the data. Restore means whatever is there in the disk library, it will be restored back to the client machine. Now, so what is the point here to remember is the storage policy. It will define what actually defines, so what data to backup, where to backup, so whether in the disk library or tape library like that, how long to keep it. How long means how many days to keep it, right? So that is the general overview of storage policy. So we'll see that all these details in, all these further details in in the coming classes. For now, just remember the overview. Overview. What is the overview? The storage policy defines what data to backup, where to backup, how long to backup. So with this information, let's see one demo. So let's see the demo of a create storage policy. Okay. So now I am in the ComServe machine. So somebody is waiting in the room, I think. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we are in the COM submission. So we are seeing the demo for how to create a storage policy. So I'm in the RDP session of the ComSer. So usually when you do the full screen, it might not adjust on your desktop. So you have to set accordingly. Right? So now we have an start from the start. Go to that COM vault and open the COM vault ComSel console. And then provide the username, password. Okay, now the console is open. So license status, you can close that. So it's a warning that it is trial version only for 60 days it will work. Yeah, go to the tools section and yeah, sorry, you have to go to the console browser on the left hand side, storage resources. Below that you have a policies and go to the storage policies, right? Yeah, you can see that already there is one policy created, ComSer TR. So I did not create it. By default, ComWord will create when you create a library for the first time. So we'll see that what the ComSer TR means for now. Now let's focus on creating a storage policy. So now you have to give that create a new storage policy and give some user friendly name. So I'm giving something with the name FS 1 month policy. So user friendly name, right? FS means file system. So I want to back up the file system here. That's a given FS. 1 month means retention 1 month. So I just user friendly name. You can give any name, but I have given that name, right? Okay, right. We have something called add disk. So there is no pool, right? Now it is asking to create one pool. So drop down that add. Will show you to different options. Let's create a disk first. So I'm creating one disk storage pool. So give the name of the pool. Okay. Now you already created one disk library earlier. You select the disk library. Disk lib one is the one that we created in the previous lab demo. So go for the next. Okay. Now it is asking whether you want to use a deduplication. So I'll come to the deduplication later. For now, simply remember deduplication is nothing but it's one of the way of compressing, like what you call like deduplicating the data. We'll come to that part later. So for now, I disabled that option, unchecked it. Go for finish. Okay, now the storage pool is created. Go for the next. Okay, so the device streams is nothing but number of parallel, IO operations that you can do. And retention 30 days by default has taken should be okay. Go for the finish. You can see the retention by default has taken 30 days, but you can change that as per your requirement. I changed it to 7 here because I don't want 30 days. Yeah, remaining things go with the default. Now you can see that policy is created. Again, creating a new policy. Again, right click, new storage policy. Select the data production, the first option. Next, now give some other name. Now this time I'm giving VM 1 month policy. VM is virtual machine. I'm giving some user friendly name. So this time I'll create another storage pool, right? Click the disk. So I don't want to select the disk pool one because that was with the earlier it was created. So I don't this time I want to create a new pool. Again the disk library pool I want to create. So give some name. This time something with a disk pool 2 like that. For next and drop down. Yeah, I'm okay to select that same disk like one. Go for next. Okay, this time I want to select the deduplication. So number of partitions, deduplication is nothing but, so it is a it is a way you can select a unique data. So we'll come to the deduplication later. For now, remember, deduplication will, it will allow you to write only the unique data onto the storage. So select some partition, right? To host that deduplication database, we need to create one partition. So I cannot use the D drive, so I'm using only the C drive only. So we're trying to create one partition for deduplication database. So what is deduplication? Deduplication is a feature which will allow you to write only the unique data, not the deduplicate data, right? Okay. So now we have selected that location of the partition. See, okay. So your database, dedupe database will be written on that partition. Okay. Go for the next and finish. So now we have two policies. One is non-dedupe storage policy and another is dedupe storage policy. So what the non-dedupe storage policy do? It's going to write everything, right? For example, I'll give you the example post this video. Yeah. Again, it's asking for number of days of retention, 7 days. That should be fine for me. And click finish. Okay. So now we have two policies. One is with the name FS 1 month, another one VM 1 month policy. So now till now we think how we can create a storage policy. Okay, in the storage resources, if you go to the storage pools, now you can see that there are two pools. One is the of type storage pool, another is of type deduplication storage pool. I'll tell you what after this video. I'll tell you what actually means the deduplication storage pool means. So it is finished. So let me close this and let's see what actually the deduplication means. So let me open one notepad. Okay. So assume that we have one client machine. So this client has you know let's suppose assume that only two files, right? So two files, each of uh, 10 GB. Okay. So both the files have same data, right? These two files have same data. Okay. So it's just like an for example, I can show you something. Or by taking this as example, right? I can take this one on. What I'm trying to do, I'm copying, and I will uh, search here. Okay, now you see this is the best example. So the same file I copy and paste it. When you back up these two files, okay, when you are backing up these two files, if you are writing these files, we are taking the backup on the non-dedupe storage policy. Non-dedupe storage policy. What is the size here? Around 124 megabyte. It is in KB, so I converted to megabyte. So 124 megabyte and 124 megabyte. So for a non-dedupe storage policy, it's going to write 124 plus 124. So 248 MB data for a non-dedupe storage policy. That means what actually it means, so your non-dedupe storage policy, it doesn't matter whether your file, it doesn't look inside the files, right? It doesn't look whether the content is same or not. It doesn't look anything inside that. It's simply for a non-dedupe storage policy. It means these are two files. Okay, I will write it separately. But for a dedupe storage policy, okay, for a dedupe storage policy, it will going to check inside the file, and it's going to also see that whether the files are same or not. Okay, the files are same, but the name is different. What it is going to do, it's going to write only, the size of 124 MB on the storage, and for the second file it's going to create the pointer, right? It's going to maintain some hashing, right? And it's going to write only the pointer in the database. So that means you are saving the storage cost, because you are only writing the unique data. So dedupe storage policy is writing only the unique data. It's not writing the duplicate data. You can see that for us, these are the two files. But when you write this, when you backup these files on the backup device, the dedupe storage policy will only write the unique content, whereas the non-dedupe storage policy will treat these as a separate, right? It will ignore even though the content is same or the blocks are same. So that we call it as an dedupe and non-dedupe storage policy. So you can close if you don't want this example. Okay. Yeah, that completes it. These are things for now. These are like overview, but we'll come into the details further. Just remember the disk library, as I said, is nothing but a bunch of disks where you can write the your backup, right? So your backup data onto the storage. Storage policy is an logical repository which will define, where to write the data, what to write the data, which client to write, what to write the data, and how long to retain the data. So that information is available in the storage policy. Yeah. Let's see another demo for Linux Linux client. Okay. So yep. See the demo next for uh, I have to again show you that architecture back. So in the lesson one, we have an architecture. We covered Comsor package, and then we covered how you can install the media agent package, and then we have seen how you create a disk library. You can see that. You see the storage types. What are these icons means? This icon means cloud library. What is this icon? The icon which you are seeing here in the rectangle box is a tape library. And what is this icon? This icon is an hard disk symbol. Whenever you see hard disk symbol here, so this represent a disk library. So in the storage, you have three different types: disk library, tape library, cloud library. Right? In general, 90% of the vendors will support any one of the three or all the three. They can have it depending on the customer. So what type of storage they want to use. So right now in the demonstration, we have seen how to create a disk library, and then we have seen how you can create a storage policy. So yeah, next we are going to see how to install the client package. So we are in the third tier of the architecture. Client package, how we can install. So what? Okay, let's see that. So what we are seeing right now is the Linux client. How to install the package for a Linux client. So let's see the demo. Okay, we are in the portal.azure.com. Okay, now I have an virtual machine already created with the name Linux client, but I did not install any package there, right? Okay, as I said earlier, client is nothing but it is a machine, it is a customer virtual machine which has the data which need to be backup, right? That means it is a customer virtual machine or it is a machine that has the data to be backed up. So we are going to back up the data present in that virtual machine. So start that virtual machine so that I can connect to it. So you can see at the top there is a notification. It is still running. We have to wait for that notification to show success. So what we are trying to do in this demo is that we are trying to install the Linux package on the Linux virtual machine. So we're trying to install the Commvault package on the Linux virtual machine. So now it is started. Usually it will take some time. So I paused and resumed it. That's why we are saying in the short time it. So we're going to connect it. Okay. So this is the Linux, right? For Linux, as I said, you don't have an RDP. You don't have a remote desktop. The remote desktop is for Windows. For Linux, it is a putty. So the way you connect to the server is through putty session or SSH. SSH is nothing but secure shell. So right now I'm using the putty. Okay, copy that public IP address and then enter that IP address. So why I'm using the public IP address? Because I'm connecting from my laptop. From my laptop, I open the putty and then I'm connecting to it. We give the username that we created at the time of creating the virtual machine. CVadmin is the user and enter the password. Okay, now you see that. So the Linux session is opened. So now we have to run some command like sudo su. So that will elevate to root shell. You see that now the user has been changed to root. Root is an like super user. Okay. So if you want to see what kind of uh, flavor of Linux is, you have to type that command. So it is a Ubuntu flavor and version is 22. Okay, to check the IP address, command is IP space A. So that will give the IP address. So it will show the interfaces. So ETH0 in Linux, the network card interface is will be having a naming convention ETH0, ETH1 like that. So IP address is 10.0.0.6. So that is the private IP address. As I said, we have a public and private IP address. Because these virtual machines are in the Azure cloud, so you need to use a private IP address for in the Comcell environment. So now I am the Comcell machine. Go to add or remove software, install software, and then you have to select the Unix here. So Unix or Linux next, and then manually select the computer. Okay, because we are installing the Commvault package on the Linux machine, you have to select the Linux type there. Okay, copy that private IP address 10.0.0.6 and enter here. So what we are trying to do now, we are trying to install the Commvault package on the Linux machine. So give the username. So this method of installation we call it is an push install. Push install or remote installation. You can call it as a push installation method or remote installation method. Because we are pushing the packages from the ComServe to that client machine. Okay, so you have to give the username and password. So this username and password are the these are the credentials of your server of your Linux server, right? The credentials that you use to log in into that server. You have to enter that. Yeah. So now selecting the package. So as I said, we are installing the Linux file system packages. So select the file system, right? Okay, go for next, 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 and go with the remaining all the default options. Follow that wizard, and remaining options you don't have to change anything much. And finally finish it. When you finish that, it will initiate one job. Sorry, the font is very small. I should have increased the font size. But don't worry. After we complete this demo session, I will, I will show on my own laptop. I have a workstation. I mean, VMware workstation installed. I'll show you that. Again, don't worry about it. I'll show you the demo again. So, what are the options available? You can clearly see that. For now, try to adjust it. So, you can see that install software completed. So, that means the software has been installed. Usually, it will take some time, but because this is a recorded video, I have trimmed it. Now, if you go to that console, the left hand side, yeah, client computers. You see that you have only two machines. But what you have to do, you have to go to view and refresh. When you refresh now, there is another machine added. That is the Linux client machine added. You can see the IP address that we entered now, 10006, right? So that machine is now added. If you want to see the installed softwares, right click, view installed software. You see that we selected the packages file system. It automatically installed the another package there. So file system package has been installed. So now you can see that this method is called as a push install, remote installation method. I will take the questions later. Don't worry, if you have any questions, try to hold it. Okay, we have another. Okay, so we have seen for Linux virtual machine how to install the file system package. Now, if you have a Windows virtual machine, how to install the file system package. That part we are going to see in the lab demo. So let's see that one. Okay, this one. So you already know you are familiar with the remote installation or push install. Let's see in this particular demonstration how to locally install. I mean, how instead of pushing it, there might be some some customer environments where some ports are not open, right? If in between the console and your Linux machine, some of the ports are not whatever the required ports are not open. It is very secure environment. So in that case, you can also do the local installation, right? With an alternate method of installing the client packages. Let's see that in this demo. Okay, now we are in the azure.commvault.com, and now I already have an virtual machine ready. So with the name Windows client. So on that virtual machine, I want to install the file system packages. So we are already done with the Linux client. Let's start the virtual machine Windows client. So if you see that it is in the stop, the status is in stop state, right? You have to start it. To connect to that virtual machine, you have to start it. So wait for the notification to complete. Okay, now when it shows green, it means that so the machine is started. So when you click on that machine, it will show you the option to connect. So connect to that and download RDP file. Okay, because it is a Windows virtual machine, I'm getting an RDP file, right? I have to connect to that RDP client remotely, and then you can see that it's connecting through public IP. The reason is that I am connecting from my own laptop, right? I'm connecting from my own laptop, I have to use the public IP. But when I am inside the Azure virtual machines, you can use the private IP addresses. Okay, now I am inside the Windows client virtual machine. Okay, so what is this demonstration? This demonstration is how to install the file system, Windows file system package. So we are installing not from the ComServe machine. We are not pushing it. We are not trying to do the push install like the way we did the Linux client. So we're trying to now do using the local install. So let's see how we can do the local install method. So right now we don't have anything. For local install, we have to copy the zip file or the software package onto this computer. Okay, so yeah, so the IP address of that machine is 10.0.0.7. So that's the private IP address of the Windows client machine. Okay, so I have paused the video. You can see that I have copied the software directly onto the desktop. Yeah, I have connected to the ComSer and then added the RDP within the ComSer machine, right? So we can use the private IP address. What I'm trying to say here, over here, ComSer. First, I connected to the ComSer, and then from the ComSer, I open the RDP file. After opening the RDP file, now I give the private IP address. Now you may get it out. So earlier we are using the public IP address, but now why I am giving the private IP address. The reason is that if you are inside the Azure virtual, I mean, if you are inside the Azure virtual machine, that means you're in the Azure environment. So you can connect to other Azure virtual machine using the private IP address because these virtual machines are hosted in the same, right, in the same environment. They are in the cloud environment. So within the cloud environment, the virtual machines can connect using the private IP addresses. So that's the reason why we do the 10.0.0.7 IP. Enter the credentials for 10.0.0.7 virtual machine. So 10.0.0.7 is the private IP address of the Windows client. So what we are doing, we are doing RTP into RTP, right? So first we connected to ComSer RTP, and from the ComSer again we did the RTP to the Windows client. Okay, what I'm trying to do, I'm copying that full media kit onto the Windows client machine, right? I'm copying that package here. I'm copying that executable file onto the Windows client machine. So I'm trying to show you the demonstration for how to run the local install or interactive install. So you have to extract it. So this is the manual method, right? So the reason why we are learning is you should know. So all these are different types of installation methods like local install, push install, all the methods you should be knowing it as a convert backup admin. So now you can see that package is the zip file is extracted. You go inside that, there is a setup file. Okay, so the wizard is started like the way you install in the ComSer, same thing. So I'm installing the packages on this computer. Go for the next. So advanced selection you have to click, right? Go for next. I'm selecting only the file system packages. So go for the next. Yeah, the installation path by default it will select C drive, so that should be fine because I have an D drive is temporary drive, so I cannot use that D drive because it is Azure virtual machine. So in the Azure virtual machine, always D is a temporary storage device, so we cannot use it. If you use that after reboot, the data will be wiped. So go for the next and default options wizard, and then you complete it. So it's going to, you see that it is copying the file system and core packages. And now it is asking the client name. So the client name is something Commvault, identifies it. But host name is important. The host name, you need to give the private IP address, right? So for this client computer, what is the IP address? see that client computer information. It is asking the client computer. So client means this machine. For this machine, we have to give the host name or IP address. So I am giving the IP address. The reason is that host names are not resolvable. They cannot resolve. We don't have any DNS or host entries. So so the command for finding IP config from the command prompt. 10007 is the IP address of this machine. So for next, now it is asking the COM IP address. So to which master I have to connect? To which particular admin server or to which particular COM machine I need to connect? So you have to give that. You have to go to that console console and then identify the IP address of the COM machine. Now, yeah, you minimize that, you see that we are in the console. Go to that console console. Yeah. So identify the console machine from the client computers. Go to the properties. And now you have to see here whatever the host name that is available, you have to enter the same thing. So here the host name is 10004. Whatever is there, that IP you have to enter here, right, from the console. You have to identify that IP address from the console. So you have to give the same IP. For the next, okay, now it is verified. It is trying to connect to that machine. Okay, it connected successfully. Now it is asking for authentication, right? So you have to. There are different ways. We have to select the enter credentials, and you have to give the credentials of your COMSIL console, right? So the COMSIL console credentials you have to enter. It is not the server. It is not the server credentials. It is the COMSIL console credentials. Okay. So it gave me invalid login. Why it gave the invalid login? Because I have given the server credentials. That's a mistake I did. So I have corrected it. So you have to enter the credentials of your console, console console, which is an admin. I don't have any CV admin user. I have only the admin user. Yeah, if you see at the bottom, the admin is the user through which I connected. I have to give that admin credentials.
Where the Windows client is added? In which list?
Uh, Windows client. Sorry, can you come again?
Uh, the the Windows client has been added, right?
Yeah, we are trying
Uh,
to edit. Yeah,
okay, not now.
not it. Yeah, so it is still connecting to the console, right? So what
Okay,
actually?
okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. It is not it added. Now you can see that it is checking the client and it is now it is able to authenticate successfully. Once it is authenticated successfully, it will give this window. Otherwise, it will give you the error. So don't give any other options. Go for the next. And now it is starting the services on this machine. And also it is registering with the console. So it is a tedious process. So usually customers will go for push install only. Push is direct, right? So from the console you add the, from the install, try to install the package, insert the host name, and give the credentials. That's it. So very easy process. But this is an interactive process, right? It is an interactive way of installation. So that's it. So now the installation completed. Once it is completed, you can go to the start and verify the services running. So there is a Comcell process manager. Process manager will have all the services. So there are different tabs here, like general tab, which will give the IP address information, Comcell details. In the services tab, you can see those are the three services related to your ComWatt. So now try to minimize that RDP for your Windows client. Now go back to the ComServe machine. I'm in the ComServe. Then open the Comcell console. Okay, the client computers. Right now you have only three machines. Windows client is not added. It is added, but it's not showing here. You have to go for view and refresh. At the menu bar, there is a view, and then if you come down, there is a refresh option. Click on that. I can see that it is automatically reflecting here, right? So this method is called the interactive method of installation or local installation or manual installation. There are different names like manual install, or you can call interactive install, or you can also call it as an local install. So we have seen the two different methods. One is the push install. We did what we did for the in the previous demo for Linux client, and another way of installing is local install. We covered both the methods. Go to that slides once again. Okay, so Comcell deployment part we covered. So yeah, this part we already covered. Like from where we can download. We can download from cloud.comwall.com. So this is an old URL. Right now, I think I'm not sure whether it is available or not. Okay, and the download methods, how you can download the package. I said you can download the full media kit, or you can download the. I mean, you can also use the download manager. And you scroll down. Okay, and now we have seen like agent installation, agent like file system, or Windows agent, Linux file system. So those are called the agents. Agents are something that, for example, on the client machine, whatever the package you install, we call that as an agent. So agents are different types. So a file system agent, DB agents, like that. So till now we have seen the demo for file system agent. Okay, there are some port requirements. So if you don't know, if you are not good in networking, for your information, port is nothing but something, like the services, what kind of services and which ports it will use. If you see the TCP IP stack, so in the TCP IP stack, so about the internet layer, you have a TCP layer. So where it's going to use within the operating system is going to open certain ports basing on the services that is running. So for ComVault, we have a mandatory ports like 8400 and 8403. Sorry, it doesn't show here in the slide, but the mandatory ports that has to be open is 8400 and 8403. 8401 is needed for special case, but mandatory are 8400 and 8403. Next, if you are using an Linux client for push install, if you wanted to push the package from your console, port 22 need to be opened on that client machine. Okay, if you are pushing the package on the Windows client, so on the Windows client, these ports need to be opened: 135, 139, 445. So this might be interview questions you can expect. For example, if the interviewer might ask you, what are the base ports needed for ComVault? The answer is 8400, 8403. So where it need to be opened? It need to be opened on all the virtual machines where the ComVault package is installed. On all the infra where the ComVault package is installed, whether it is a client, media agent, or ComServe, it doesn't matter. On all the infra, you need these ports: 8400, 8403. We call it as a base port. Okay. Now port 22, why it is needed and when needed? Port 22 needed when you are pushing from your ComSer onto the Linux client. You need a port 22. If it is a Linux client, you need port 22 to be open. Okay. If you have a Windows client and you are pushing the software, pushing means you are trying to do the remote installation from your console console. Then you need these ports. So you can expect an entry question uh, on the ports. Okay, what else is needed? So you also need an credentials. So credentials of the server, right? For example, if you are installing if you are doing a push install, so you need the username and password of the Windows client or Linux client, the server credentials, and install may require a reboot. Usually, it is not required. I mean, you can just ignore it. Reboot is not required for package installation. So reboot will be required only in certain special cases. We'll discuss it later. But for package installation, reboot is not required. So again, interview question, they may ask you for package after package installation, is the reboot required? No, it is not required. Next, we have seen in the previous videos how to build the software cache on the ComSet, right? This is your ComSet, right? Immediately after installing the ComSet package, you need to build the software cache. So how you can build it? Either you can download from the internet, provided ComSet should have an internet. So once you have an internet, you can download the all your base packages, right? Like 11 dot, like for example, if Commvault is releasing a the new feature release, new version 11.36. So if your ComSer have an internet access, and so it can directly download from your cloud.commvault.com and place it on the cache. But if you don't have an internet access, what is the alternative? The alternative is that on your own computer, you have to download that the latest version 11.36, and then you have to copy it here on the ComSer machine, right? So, and after that, you have to prepare the cache. So in the previous video, we've seen how you can prepare the cache. So yeah, so like Commvault will release the service package, quarterly. But nowadays it was an old version, so slides are like quite old. But nowadays it is only releasing half yearly. So the new version will be released twice a year only. Half yearly means two times in a year. So because the slides are little old, in quarterly, but you see that latest news, the Commvault is only releasing only two times in a year. Next, so Commvault will also somebody is okay. Thank you for unmuting. And it will also have an hot fixes. I will come to this later. What actually service pack means, what is a hot fix? We will see that details later. Next, cache allocation. I have shown you how you can identify the software cache allocation in the previous video. If you haven't watched, please watch that. And automatic update, manual update. We'll cover this later when we are seeing the upgrade process. So how you're going to upgrade your ComSer, how you're going to upgrade the media agent, and how you're upgrading the client. So that will be covered in detail later. Next, okay, agent installation. This is what I'm speaking about today's session. So we have a push install, which is also called remote install, right? From your ComSer. Yeah, you can see that you select the package and then you push it. Interact to install. You have seen that, right? For a Windows client. So you have to copy that locally, and then you have to go for next. You follow the wizard, provide the ComSer console credentials, right? That process is called interact install. Custom packages. So custom packages, we'll see that later. It's something like you can customize a package, right? For example, usually when you install the full media kit, it is of around 10 GB, 15 GB, right? So that 10 GB will contain all the packages. But usually, for example, if you want to install on the client only the file system package, you don't have to copy that 10 GB, 15 GB, or 15 GB file onto that client machine. What you can do, you can customize this so that it contains only the file system packages. So I'll also show you the demo how you can customize the package. For now, you just you don't have to go into the details of that. Next, agent requirements. So we'll see that later. Okay, for push install. So what are the port requirements? So I already told you for Linux you need 22 port, and for Windows 135, 139, 445. We have seen that in the previous slide. And what else we need? We need the administrative account if it is a Windows. If it is a Linux, you need a root level account or something which has a root level access. And you can also do the bulk installation. Bulk installation is nothing but you can install more than one client at a time. I'll show you in my own lab demo. Don't worry about that for now. And we have seen this difference between Linux and Windows. Okay, then interactive installation. So we've seen for Windows running the setup.file and giving all these details. Just now we covered. Okay, custom package. We'll see that in the coming session. So that is what is covered today. I think it's already 1 hour has passed. So yeah, and we have fewer more demos, and I'm still preparing some more demos. So overall, it will be like the practical oriented course. So we have long way to go. So actually, I plan to take the sessions in the weekend, but I have some work for tomorrow and after tomorrow. So again, we'll meet on the Monday only. Stop the recording if you have any questions.